back to Life on Two Wheels. So who is Stephanie Yue and why is she amazing? Stephanie is a very talented artist and illustrator. In 2014, she set off on a four-corner tour of the lower 48 states that eventually brought her to 7 Canadian provinces and Alaska. Every day, Stephanie did a drawing documenting her journey. By an amazing twist of fate and good fortune, I had the privilege to meet up with Stephanie, and we traveled through the Adirondacks together on our Vespas. I begin this video by deconstructing how one particular drawing grew out of the second day of my travels with Stephanie. Take a look.
What's happening? Now it's a video.
Now it's a video? Oh, great. Get me yelling, go away.
Undeterred by that epic storm, Stephanie made it to Lubec, Maine just a few days later. And that's how she completed the first chapter of her global Vespa travels at the northeastern corner of the US. The next time I met up with Stephanie was at the Isle de Wolf rally. And you know that Stephanie is around when you spot her signature blue Vespa. Stephanie custom painted that bike, and so that blue Vespa is unique in the world and belongs to Stephanie Yue. At the rally, I think it was on the Saturday night, I managed to corral Stephanie for an interview, and I asked her what it's like to live off of your bike as opposed to living in the kind of place most of us know as home. And here's what Stephanie had to say.
That's a tricky question. It is a challenging thing whenever someone asks, where is your home? Or where did you come from? Or even like here, where did you ride from? And I'll just pick the last point that I actually did kind of ride from. Yeah, I think it might just be an expanded sense of home. I think for a lot of people, home is very location-centric.
Yep.
But it doesn't have to be.
2018 saw Stephanie expanding her horizons for travel, and she ended up doing some amazing riding in Asia, including Pakistan and Thailand, if I'm not mistaken. And so by the time I met up with her in Kingston in 2018, she had already cast her wings elsewhere in the world. By 2019, Stephanie was ready to continue her kind of more focused travels, but this time, instead of the United States, it was going to be in Europe. And that brought her to Toronto for a flight to Europe, specifically Barcelona, and her scooter was coming on the same plane as she was going to be flying on, which is incredibly useful because you get off the plane and you kind of hop on your bike and you're off to a new adventure. And because it was her setting off point was Toronto, Ed very, very graciously set up a Saturday brunch at his workshop that I like to think of as kind of like Gandalf's lair, because all types of magic happens in that space. I sometimes think that Ed could do anything in that space, from rebuilding motorcycles to gourmet cuisine to all types of marvelous things, inventing amongst other things. So here's an account of that send-off brunch, and unfortunately, it turned out after the fact that the cable on my microphone had broken, and so the audio is very, very intermittent, and that's been one of the reasons why I've struggled to put this video out because of the messed up audio. And that's why, I don't know if you noticed, I've gotten a little bit more creative with this video than I have in the past, and that's to make up for terrible technical shortcomings. So here's that send-off brunch, and I warn you right now, there's flipping involved.
Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Fred. Me? Morning, Ed. Morning. Or thereabouts. So this, I guess maybe I'll call this the Serenity kickoff.
Oh boy, kickoff rush.
delicious brunch. It was time to head outside and do what else? Play with motorcycles. This is where Stephanie got a ride on Ed's Push 250 SGS Twingle, a motorcycle that was last sold in 1970. It's a two-piston single-cylinder, two-stroke motorcycle. So, the lesson there is don't ride behind it. I had the pleasure of doing that on the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride because, like all two-strokes, it's got its own special perfume.
No, that's not the way that Stephanie's going to Barcelona.
Later on that day, we welcomed Stephanie at the usual hangout for the Toronto Moto Scooter Club, which is at the corner of Pottery, at the Dairy Queen, at the corner of Pottery Road and Broadview. It's a beautiful little site. Nice view of the CN Tower in the background on their picnic table at the back of the restaurant that overlooks Pottery Road. And that was it. The next day we went out for dinner with Stephanie, and after that she was off to the airport, hopped on a plane, and that's it. So Stephanie was an absolute angel. She autographed two of her books that I brought to have autographed. One I had brought back from my granddaughters in Vancouver, so Stephanie could autograph it. The other one I had ordered and had been delivered by Amazon for my other granddaughter in Toronto. And so Stephanie autographed those books, which is absolutely a joy. So then the question is, where is Stephanie now? I guess that's what some of you want to know. And my best guess is either Cambridge, Massachusetts, or San Francisco, California. One of those two places. And obviously the COVID pandemic has played havoc with Stephanie's plans, the same as it has with all of our plans. But for that, Stephanie might be running around in Europe on her blue Vespa that she calls Serenity. So Serenity is parked off somewhere in Europe, just waiting for Stephanie to get back there and take it on more adventures that we can read about on her blog, 250superhero.com. So that's it for another fascinating episode of Life on Two Wheels. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please visit the blog. There's a link in the notes, and you'll find on the blog, amongst other things, rider profiles. And there's a profile for Stephanie, and it has links to the various interviews that Stephanie has given to myself and to others. There's a link to the blog in chronological order, so if you're one of those people who prefers to read a blog like a book, you can follow the blog in chronological order. And there are links there to the Adirondack adventure that I had, or Adirondack adventures that I had. The first one with Jim Mandel, who was key to the adventure Stephanie and I had. He was supposed to join us, unfortunately he couldn't. As well as to the 2-day riding adventure with Stephanie, and I think there are links there to Stephanie's blog as well, so that you can get contrasting perspectives on that little adventure. So visit the blog. You'll find amongst the things I listed, you'll find the gear guide, the touring guide, and you'll find so much more. Please remember to click to like this video and click to subscribe so that you can get other videos as soon as I put them out. I've got a couple in the works, and so there's more to come. Take good care.